The galaxy had a name for Earth. They called it a. It was not a kind name. It meant that Earth was a planet where everything wanted to kill you. The gravity was too strong. The air was filled with poison. The weather changed from burning hot to freezing cold. And the creatures that lived there were monsters. They ate each other. They fought each other. They survived things that would kill any normal species in seconds. Humans came from this world, and the galaxy was afraid of them. Captain Park stood on the bridge of his ship, the Iron Wake. It was a destroyer-class vessel built for war. The metal walls were thick. The weapons were heavy. The engines burned hot enough to melt stone. It was not a pretty ship. It was not meant to be pretty. It was meant to be dangerous. Was a tall man with a calm face and cold eyes. He had served in the Korean Space Fleet for 15 years. He had seen battles. He had given orders that killed people. He had buried friends. None of this showed on his face. He had learned long ago to keep his feelings locked away. His crew was small but good. Lieutenant sat at the navigation console. She was young, barely 30, with sharp eyes and quick hands. She was the best pilot had ever worked with. She could fly the Iron Wake through an asteroid field blindfolded. Behind them in the weapons bay, Sergeant was checking the guns. He was a big man with scars on his hands and a smile that made enemies nervous. He led the Marine squad, 12 soldiers, all of them trained to fight in any environment, all of them ready to die if the mission required it. The Iron Wake was on a routine patrol near the rim sectors. This was the edge of known space where the rules of civilization grew thin. Pirates hunted here. Slavers operated here. The strong took from the weak and no one asked questions. Hated the rim. The signal came at 3:47 hours, ship time. It was weak and broken. Static filled the transmission, but the words were clear enough. It was a distress call, an SOS. Someone was in trouble. Cleaned up the signal and played it on the main speakers. A voice spoke. It was soft and musical like wind through leaves. They recognized them immediately. They were one of the gentle species, telepaths, pacifists. They had no weapons, no armies, no way to defend themselves. They believed in peace and understanding. They thought that all conflicts could be solved with words. The galaxy was not kind to species like that. "Please," the voice said, "anyone who can hear this, we are under attack. Raiders have surrounded our station. They are cutting through our doors. We have no weapons. We cannot fight." The voice broke with fear. "There are children here. Please, someone help us." Looked at her captain. Her face was pale. "Sir, I've located the source. Research Station 7. It's 2 hours away at maximum burn." The said quietly, "How many ships?" Sensors show 3 raider vessels, medium class, maybe 200 fighters total. 200. The Iron Wake had a crew of 47. The odds were not good. Standard protocol said they should alert the Galactic Peacekeeping Fleet and wait for backup. The Peacekeepers were the official protectors of the galaxy. They had the numbers, the resources, the legal authority. They were also slow, careful, political. By the time they arrived, they would be dead or gone, sold to the slave markets of the outer systems. Their children would grow up in cages if they grew up at all. Had seen what happened to slaves. He had helped rescue some of them years ago. The memory still gave him nightmares. "Sir," said carefully, "Galactic Protocol suggests we maintain distance and report to the fleet. Human ships are not welcome in intervention scenarios. The other species get nervous when we show up." "I know what they think of us," said. And he did. The galaxy saw humans as monsters, dangerous animals that had somehow learned to build starships. When humans entered a system, other species locked their doors and prayed. Even the friendly ones kept their distance. They smiled at humans in diplomatic meetings, but their eyes were always watching, always afraid. Understood their fear. Human history was written in blood, wars, genocides. Nuclear weapons pointed at their own cities. Humans had nearly destroyed themselves a dozen times before they ever reached the stars. They carried violence in their genes like a disease. But they carried something else too. Set intercept course, ordered, full burn. Hesitated for just a moment. Then she nodded and her hands flew across the controls. The iron wake turned toward the distant station. The engines roared to life, pushing the ship faster than any species thought possible. In the weapons bay, Sergeant received the alert. He looked at his soldiers. Private was young. This was her first real mission. Corporal was checking his knife for the 10th time. The others were calm, quiet, ready. "We have a rescue operation," told them. "Station under attack, civilians, children." No one asked if they would be fighting. They already knew the answer. Loaded her rifle, her hands were steady, her face showed nothing. But inside, her heart was beating fast. She had trained for years for this moment. She had learned to shoot, to fight, to survive. She had been told what humans were. Survivors, the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Now she would find out if it was true. The iron wake screamed through the void. Behind them, the stars blurred into lines of light. Ahead, somewhere in the darkness, people were dying. They were coming, not with kindness, not with mercy, not with the gentle hand of peace. They were coming with something the galaxy feared even more. They were coming with certainty. The iron wake dropped out of hyperspace like a bullet from a gun. The view on the main screen made Captain Park's jaw tighten. 3 raider ships surrounded the station. They were ugly vessels, built from stolen parts and painted with the symbols of a dozen dead cultures. They did not create, they only took. The station itself was a long cylinder, spinning slowly to create artificial gravity. It was a peaceful design, a place for scientists and families. Now, mechanical arms from the ships had punched through its hull. They were harvester arms, built to pull people out of their homes like fish from water. Escape pods floated in the space around the station. Some were intact, others had been torn open. Their contents were gone, taken. Felt something cold settle in his chest. Not anger, something deeper, something older. "Weapon status," he said. "All batteries charged and ready," the weapons officer reported. "Missile pods and point defense systems online." "Lieutenant, bring us in close. Attack Vector 7. His fingers danced across her console. The iron wake moved forward, its engines glowing blue in the darkness. The ship was smaller than the raiders. It looked like a fish swimming toward 3 sharks. But the sharks did not know what they were looking at. On the command ship, alarms began to wail. The captain turned his massive insect head toward the sensor screen. His compound eyes saw the human vessel approaching. For a moment, he did not understand. Human ships never came to the rim. They stayed in their own territory, guarding their own borders. Everyone knew this. "Hail them," the captain ordered. "Tell them to leave. This is not their concern." His communication officer tried. The message went out across all channels. The iron wake did not respond. "Sir," said on the human bridge, "they are trying to contact us. They're telling us to back off." Did not even look at her. "Target their engine cores. Fire when ready." "Sir, standard protocol requires a warning shot. We should give them a chance to." "They know exactly what they're doing." His voice was flat as stone. "They know it's illegal. They know we can see the bodies floating out there. They had their chance." He turned his cold eyes to the weapons officer. "Fire." The iron wakes were not like normal weapons. They did not shoot energy beams or plasma bolts. They fired solid metal slugs at incredible speeds. No shields could stop them. No armor could resist them. They hit their targets with the force of a small nuclear bomb. The first raider never saw it coming. The slug punched through the ship's midsection and out the other side. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the reactor went critical. The ship broke in half, spilling fire and bodies into the vacuum. The explosion was brief. In space, there was no air to feed the flames. The ship simply came apart, spinning away in pieces. The second raider tried to turn. Too slow. The next slug hit its engine block directly. The back half of the ship vanished in a ball of nuclear fire. The front half tumbled away, dark and dead. 2 ships destroyed in less than 10 seconds. On the third raider, panic erupted. They screamed at each other in their clicking language. Their pheromones filled the air with the smell of pure terror. The captain shouted orders, trying to get his ship moving, trying to escape. "They're running," reported, "heading for the jump point." "Pursuit course," ordered. "Sergeant, prepare your team for boarding action." In the armory was already moving. His soldiers gathered around him, pulling on their combat armor. The suits were heavy, designed for the crushing gravity of Earth. In the lighter gravity of the ship, they would move like gods. Private checked her rifle one more time. Her hands had stopped shaking. Something inside her had grown quiet, calm, ready. "Remember your training," told his squad. "Our insects, big, strong, scary looking, but their shells are weak at the joints, elbows, knees, neck. They rely on fear and numbers. They've never fought humans before." Corporal smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Then let's teach them." The iron wake caught the fleeing raider within minutes. Human engines were too fast. Human ships were too strong. There was no escape. Boarding clamps locked onto the hull with a sound like thunder. Cutting torches began to burn through the metal. Inside, they gathered at the breach point. 50 of them, armed with blades and plasma pistols. They had never lost a boarding action. They were predators. The airlock exploded inward. Came through first. He moved faster than any creature that size should move. Swung a blade at his head. He ducked under it, grabbed the arm, and twisted. The sound of breaking chitin was like snapping wood. The screamed. Silenced it with a single shot from his sidearm. Behind him, his squad poured through the opening. They did not hesitate. They did not show fear. They did not give the time to think. Moved along the right wall, her rifle barking in controlled bursts. Each shot found its target. Each target fell. She had trained for this. Thousands of hours in simulation. Millions of rounds at the range. Her body knew what to do even when her mind was still catching up. Preferred close work. He moved through like a farmer through wheat. His knife found joints and soft spots. His strength was terrifying. He picked up a soldier and threw it into 3 others. The battle lasted 4 minutes. When it was over, the corridor was silent except for the moaning of the wounded. 47 lay dead or dying. 3 humans had minor injuries. Nothing serious. Looked at his squad. Their armor was splashed with blue blood. Their eyes were hard and focused. "Find the prisoners," he ordered. They should be in the cargo bay." They moved deeper into the ship. Behind them, the dead waited for no one. The inside of the ship smelled wrong. Sargent had been on many alien vessels before. Each species had its own smell. The smelled like flowers after rain. The smelled like copper and dust. But the smelled like ammonia and something else, something sour. It took a moment to understand what it was. Fear, they communicated through chemicals. When they were afraid, they released pheromones into the air. The whole ship stank of their terror. Good, they should be afraid. The squad moved through the corridors in perfect formation. Took point, her rifle sweeping each corner before she moved forward. Covered the rear, his knife still wet with blue blood. The others filled the gaps between them, each soldier covering their assigned sector. They found more as they went deeper. Some tried to fight. They died quickly. Others threw down their weapons and pressed themselves against the walls, mandibles clicking in surrender. Did not have time for prisoners. He ordered them secured and moved on. The cargo bay doors were massive, built to hold large shipments, built to hold slaves. "Breach it," ordered. Placed a shaped charge on the door lock. Everyone stepped back. The explosion was small but focused. The doors groaned and slid open. What saw inside made his heart go cold. 17 huddled inside containment fields. The fields were like invisible cages, walls of energy that kept them trapped in place. The prisoners were thin and pale. Their large eyes were filled with terror. Some of them had wounds that had not been treated. Others simply stared at nothing, their minds already broken by fear. Most of the prisoners were adults, but there were children too, small ones with silver skin and trembling hands. They clung to their parents and tried not to cry. One of the adults moved forward. She was female, tall for a, with patterns of soft light moving under her skin, her eyes fixed on with an expression he could not read. You, her voice came not through the air but directly into his mind. They were telepaths. They spoke with thoughts, not words. You are Terrans. The pulled off his helmet. He wanted her to see his face, to see that he was not a monster, not entirely. We're here to get you out, he said. Can you walk? The female did not seem to hear him. She pressed her hand against the containment field, her large eyes searching his face. You came. We sent the signal to the Galactic peacekeeping fleet. We did not expect. We did not think anyone would answer. Someone always answers, said. He moved to the containment field controls and began shutting them down. My name is, I'm a sergeant in the Terran Marine Corps. You're safe now. Safe? The word came out strange, as if she did not quite understand it. We watched your species for many years from far away. We saw your wars, your weapons, the way you kill each other without mercy. She paused. We were afraid of you. I know. We thought if the Terrans ever came for us, it would be to destroy us, to take what we have, to do what they are doing. Met her eyes. We're not The containment fields flickered and died. The prisoners stumbled forward, suddenly free. Parents grabbed their children. Friends held each other. Some of them collapsed, too weak to stand. The human soldiers moved among them, offering water and medical supplies. Knelt beside a small child. A boy, she thought, though it was hard to tell. His silver skin was cut and bruised. He looked at her with eyes too old for his face. Hello, she said softly. My name is, I'm going to help you. The child did not respond with words, but something touched her mind, a feeling more than a thought, confusion, fear, and underneath it all a tiny spark of hope. Smiled at him. It was the first time she had smiled in days. The female, who learned was called, watched all of this with wonder. She had studied humans from a distance. She had read their history. She knew about their wars and their weapons and their endless capacity for violence. But she had never seen this. She had never seen humans being gentle. I do not understand, she said quietly, speaking only to. You came with such violence. I felt the deaths of I felt their terror as you killed them. You were without mercy. Yes. But now, with us, you are different. Looked around the cargo bay. His soldiers were helping to their feet, giving them water, bandaging their wounds. One of his men had picked up a child and was carrying her on his shoulders because she was too tired to walk. We save our violence for those who deserve it, he said. They made their choice. They chose to hurt innocent people. They chose to take children from their families. His voice hardened. We don't show mercy to people like that. And the innocent. Met her eyes. The innocent get our protection. That's the deal. That's always been the deal. Was silent for a long moment. Then she bowed her head. I think we misunderstood your species, Sergeant. Most people do. He gestured toward the door. Come on, let's get your people to our ship. You'll be safe there. They moved through the corridor slowly. The wounded leaned on the strong. The children stayed close to the soldiers, their fear of humans fading with each gentle word and helping hand. Behind them the ship groaned and settled. Its crew was dead or captured. Its evil was ended. But the day was not over yet. The surviving were gathered in the mess hall of their own ship. 43 of them knelt in rows on the cold metal floor. Their weapons had been taken. Their hands were bound behind their backs. Their compound eyes watched the humans with a mixture of hatred and terror. Captain Park walked among them slowly. His boots made soft sounds on the deck. His face showed nothing. He might have been taking a walk in a garden, not standing among the enemies who had killed innocent people just hours before. Lieutenant stood near the door, her tablet recording everything. This was required by Galactic Protocol. All interactions with captured combatants had to be documented. Every word, every action. It protected both sides. Usually. Stopped in front of the captain. The insect was larger than the others. Old battle scars crossed his shell. Ceremonial marks had been carved into his chest, signs of status and power among his kind. He raised his head to look at the human, his mandibles clicking in defiance. "You attacked a protected research station," said. His voice was calm, conversational, almost pleasant. "You killed 11 before we arrived. You intended to sell the rest into slavery. There are children in that cargo bay, children you plan to sell." The captain made a sound like grinding stone. Laughter. "You do not understand our ways. The weak exist to serve the strong. This is the natural order. Your own history proves this." "Does it?" "You enslaved each other for thousands of years. You built empires on the backs of the broken. You are no different from us." Nodded slowly. "You're right. We did all of those things. We were cruel. We were brutal. We caused suffering that would make even your people sick." He leaned closer to the captain. "And then we looked at what we had become. We looked at the pain we had caused, and we decided to be better." The captain's eyes flickered with confusion. "Better." "We made laws, we built systems. We taught our children that slavery was wrong, that hurting the innocent was wrong, that the strong had a duty to protect the weak, not exploit them." Straightened up. "It took us a long time. We made many mistakes. We still make mistakes, but we are trying. Every day we are trying to be better than we were." "Pretty words." The captain spat on the floor. "But you still killed 200 of my warriors. You showed no mercy, no hesitation. You are still the monsters the galaxy fears." "Yes," agreed. "We are, and that is precisely the point." He turned and walked a few steps away. Then he turned back, his cold eyes fixed on the captain. "Here is what is going to happen. I am going to let you go." Silence fell over the mess hall. Even the seemed stunned. "I am going to let you take your remaining ships and go back to your fleet," continued. "And I want you to tell them what happened here today. Tell them everything. Tell them that a single human ship found you, not a fleet, not an armada, one ship with a crew of less than 50. He paused, letting the words sink in. "Tell them that we destroyed 2 of your raider vessels in under 10 seconds. Tell them that we boarded the 3rd and killed every fighter who resisted. Tell them that we did not negotiate. We did not threaten. We did not give warnings. We simply acted." The captain's mandibles had stopped clicking. His bravado was gone. In its place was something he'd seen many times before: fear, real fear. "Tell them that the next time a distress signal goes out in space where humans patrol, we will come. We will always come. And we will not be as gentle as we were today." The captain stared at him. "You call this gentle? You killed hundreds of us." Smiled. It did not reach his eyes. "You're still breathing, aren't you?" No response. "The ones we killed made their choice. They raised weapons against us. They tried to stop us from rescuing innocent people. They got what they deserved." Crouched down until he was eye level with the insect captain. "But you get to live, you get to go home, you get to tell the story. Do you understand why?" "No." "Because dead men tell no tales. I need you alive. I need you to spread the word to every slaver, every pirate, every predator in this galaxy." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I need them to know what happens when humans answer a call for help. I need them to lie awake at night wondering if their next target might be under our protection. I need them to be afraid." He stood up and turned away. "Release them," he ordered. "Let them take their ship and go." Stared at him, "Sir, just like that." Just like that, the prisoners were released from their bonds. They stumbled to their feet, still watching the humans with terrified eyes. Their captain moved among them, gathering his surviving crew. None of them looked back as they moved toward the docking bay. At the door, the captain paused. He turned his head slightly, one compound eye catching his gaze. "The galaxy will hear of this," he said. "They will know what you are." Nodded, "That's the idea." The left. Their damaged ship limped away into the darkness, carrying its crew of survivors and its cargo of fear. Moved to stand beside her captain. "Do you think it will work? Do you think they'll actually be afraid?" Watched the ship until it vanished into hyperspace. "They're already afraid. They've been afraid of us since we first left Earth. We're just giving them a reason to act on that fear." He turned toward the door. "Come on, we still have to take care of. That station needs repairs." They walked out of the mess hall together. Behind them, the blood of the fallen was already drying on the floor. A message was being sent across the galaxy, written not in words, but in action. They were watching, and heaven help anyone who hurt the innocent while they were nearby. The station was quiet now. Engineers from the Iron Wake had worked through the night to repair the damage. The holes in the hull had been sealed. The life support systems were running again. Power flowed through the corridors, bringing light back to places that had known only darkness and fear. The survivors moved through their home like ghosts. Some of them were still in shock. They walked slowly, touching walls and furniture as if making sure it was all still real. Others gathered in small groups, holding each other and crying softly. The tears were not just for the dead. They were for themselves, for what they had almost become. The human soldiers had stayed to help. Sergeant and his squad worked alongside the lifting heavy equipment, cleaning debris, doing whatever needed to be done. They did not complain. They did not ask for thanks. They simply worked. Private sat with the children in what had been a classroom before the attack. The little ones gathered around her, their silver skin glowing faintly in the soft light. They were still afraid, but not of her. Not anymore. One of the children, a girl with bright purple eyes, reached out and touched his hand. Her small fingers traced the scars on his knuckles, training scars, the marks of countless hours learning to fight. "Do they hurt?" the girl asked, her telepathic voice like a whisper of wind. "Not anymore," said. "They healed a long time ago." "Why do you have them?" Thought about her answer carefully. "On my world, we learn to fight when we are young, not because we want to hurt people, but because we want to protect the people we love." The girl considered this. "Did you protect us?" "Yes." "Will you always protect us?" Looked at the child's innocent face. Such a simple question, such a heavy weight. "Whenever we can," she said. "Whenever you need us." The girl smiled. It was the first smile had seen on any of the children since the rescue. It made everything worth it. On the observation deck, Captain Park stood alone, watching the stars. The ship had long since vanished. The battle was over. The enemy was gone, but knew that this was just one moment in an endless war. Tomorrow there would be another distress call, another group of innocents in danger, another chance to prove what humans really were. Footsteps approached behind him. He did not turn around. He already knew who it was. The researcher came to stand beside him. She was taller than most of her species, and her skin patterns had returned to their normal soft glow. She looked stronger now, less afraid. "Captain," she said, her telepathic voice gentle, "I wanted to thank you on behalf of all of us." "No thanks necessary," said. "We were just doing our job." "Your job?" She moved closer to the window, her large eyes reflecting the distant stars. "The Galactic Peacekeeping Fleet has hundreds of ships in this sector. We sent our distress call to them first. They received it 20 minutes before you did." Said nothing. They debated for 6 hours about whether to respond. They discussed jurisdiction, politics, the proper procedure for intervention. By the time they reached a decision, you had already saved us. Her voice carried a note of wonder. Why? Why what? Why did you come? Your people are not welcome in galactic affairs. The other species fear you, avoid you. They would rather die than ask humans for help. She turned to face him. And yet you came, without hesitation, without asking what you would get in return. Why? Was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was different, softer, almost human. A long time ago, my ancestors lived in a small country, surrounded by bigger, stronger neighbors. They were invaded many times, conquered, occupied. They knew what it felt like to be helpless, to have no one answer when they called for help. He turned to face her. We built ourselves into something that would never feel that way again. We became strong, fast, dangerous. We learned to fight so well that no one would ever dare hurt us. His eyes met hers, and somewhere along the way we made a promise, not just to ourselves, to everyone, that we would answer when others called, that we would stand between the innocent and those who would harm them. Even species that fear you. Especially them, almost smiled. Fear is not the opposite of trust. Sometimes it's the beginning of it. The galaxy fears us because they don't understand us yet. They think our violence is all we have to offer. Is it not? No, he shook his head. Violence is just a tool, a means to an end. What we really offer is something simpler, something the galaxy hasn't seen in a long time. What? Certainty. Turned back to the stars. The certainty that someone will answer, the certainty that evil will not go unpunished, the certainty that the strong will protect the weak, not prey on them. His voice hardened. We didn't come with kindness. Kindness doesn't stop slavers. Kindness doesn't protect children. We came with something better. Force. Yes, the force of beings who have seen the worst of themselves and chosen to be better. The force of a species that knows exactly how dangerous it can be and uses that danger to shield the helpless. He paused. You misunderstood us. You thought our violence meant we were cruel. You didn't see that for humans, violence is sometimes the expression of compassion. Was quiet for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was filled with something new, something that might have been hope. Perhaps we can learn from each other, she said. Your people and mine. Perhaps. The Iron Wake departed 3 hours later. The waved from the observation windows as the human ship pulled away. Some of them were still crying, but now the tears were different. As the ship jumped into hyperspace, Lieutenant received a message. She read it twice before bringing it to her captain. Sir, the captain's transmission reached their home fleet. It's already spreading through the sector. She looked up at him. They're scared, really scared. Nodded slowly. Good. In the darkness between the stars, something had changed. A new calculation was being made. In pirate bases and slaver markets, in the hidden corners where predators gathered, word was spreading. They were not hiding anymore. They were watching, waiting, ready. And when the innocent called out for help, they would answer. Not with kindness, but with something far more terrifying. With certainty.